student. Today we will learn about human impact on the environment. As you understand, I think the topic is very much clear to you that we are going to see what is our impact on environment. So, as we all know very well, that environment is our surrounding. So, what are we doing with our environment? What behavior, what attitude do we have towards our environment? So, this we are going to learn in detail. So, there are few factors that we will deal because you know that it's a wide topic. Everything cannot be covered in one slide. So we will see one by one four different factors on which we human have put their impact. And obviously, most impacts are adverse impact. Human are spoiling our Mother Earth. So how we are doing putting our adverse impact on the environment that we are going to see today. So first, as you can see on the slide, population pressures. Second would be air pollution. Third, water pollution, and then land pollution. And in the last, we will recap and we will do the plenary session in which we will summarize our impact on the environment. So let's begin with the population pressure. What can you see in this slide? This slide is actually the pictorial presentation of the previous one, this one. See the four different factors, the four different types of impact is identified in this single picture. You can see here air pollution, see air pollution, carbon dioxide emission and hazardous emission, gaseous emission. You can see from our factories, air pollution. You can see air pollution. You can see water pollution. We are blessed with ocean, but what are we doing to the ocean? We are spoiling our ocean, and ocean is doing a lot to us, but in return what are we doing? We are actually damaging our ocean life. Our ocean life is almost in danger. We all know this very well. So the drains of the chimneys is poured directly to the ocean without any treatment. And these waste, as you can see, these waste contains toxic material that will kill the whole marine life. Acha, now see the land pollution. What are we doing with these land pollution? See, what are we doing with our land pollution? We are spoiling our land, the land which is given to us to live, but we are doing deforestation. Can you see any tree over here? No, we can't see any single tree. But what can we see? High high rise buildings, high rise buildings. So what is our attitude towards our environment? We we have we are doing a very inhuman behavior with our nature. We have cut down each and every single tree and has replaced that land with high rise building. So we are doing very wrong attitude. It's a very wrong attitude that we are doing with our Mother Earth. So this picture will help you to understand the impact of human on the environment. Now see, if we talk about population, that How much population do we have? So it is estimated by different research that we have 6.6 billion people in the world, and among them 95 million babies. So if we go on average, so average would be 3 babies per second. Per second, 3 babies are born on our Mother Earth. So with this average, we can actually calculate the rate of population. That what is actually the rate of population. We in the environmental science believe on a word, and that word is called exponential. Exponential. Exponential, we will not look into the literature meaning of exponential because it may not reflect the true sense of exponential growth if we look into only the literature meaning. We will see our this word meaning in our environmental science. In environmental science and to somehow in literature as well, exponential refers to the rise. To rise, how much rise? Double rise. Like 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 becomes 32. Likewise, the rise becomes 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 32. In this way, if anything rise, we say that this rise is exponential. So we think that the environmentalists think that the growth of the world is taking place exponentially. Okay, so let's see what the slide says. Exponential growth. Human population is growing exponentially. Okay, fine. It means that the larger population, the faster it grows. So how the population grows? Population grows only when we achieve high life expectancy. The life expectancy will be large. It means that the population is rapidly or exponentially increasing. Let me explain this. If we talk about Pakistan, so in Pakistan, the recent research says that the life expectancy is almost, they say that it's 65 years in our country, which is counted as, that we are included in developing country. We are not talking right now about the developed countries. They have their own trend of population. So nowadays, the life expectancy is largely increasing, and this, if the life expectancy will be increased, it means that the population will definitely increase day by day. And if the population will increase day by day, what's the problem? If the population is increasing, the population increase will demand more resource, and we are short of resources. And whatever the resource, the natural resources, you remember in our first session we learned about natural resources. So natural resources, whatever is we are blessed with, we are spoiling that. So we are already facing problem of resource depletion. So if the population will is also increase with exponentially, then of course we are going to suffer a lot. But if, as the research says, that life expectancy is increasing day by day, so what makes the life expectancy to be rise day by day? So there are different factors which are involved in the rise of life expectancy. The first is better health care. If there are better health facilities to human beings, of course they will increase their population. All right. And like, see, we being in the Karachi, the biggest city of Pakistan, we are we have proper facility of hospitals. We have government hospitals, we have semi private hospitals, Medicine, now in lockdown also, the medicine is, to get medicine is not a problem. Vaccine, all sort of vaccine can be get from our city. All right. Now the second is more and better food. More better food, healthy food. Better food can be explained in other words as healthy food, cleaner water, and better sanitation. Better sanitation means better hygienic condition of our toilet, of our drain system. So if we look into these factors, which are actually claimed to rise the life expectancy, are we going to believe in these factors if we think about only our country? No, of course it's not so. We do not face better sanitation. Our sanitation condition is very pathetic everywhere. If we do a survey of our Karachi city, so we will see overflowing drain everywhere in our locality. Cleaner water is just a dream for many of us. Better food, healthy food. It's that we being nation of developing country, most of us cannot get healthy fruits, healthy vegetables because it costs a lot. Better health treatment. No, we do not have better health treatment because our hospitals, if we talk about the government hospital, it's just pathetic. It's quite difficult to get treatment from our government hospitals. Day by day it's going to be very pathetic. Acha. So the biggest increase in population in economically developing nation rather than economically developed nations. There is biggest difference. We are economically developing country. So we cannot say that here in our Pakistan we have these four factors which are imparting their role in rising life expectancy because we do not experience these factors in our country. So our life expectancy is becoming lower and lower day by day. So this is one of the difference between economically developed countries and economically developed country. Acha, if we predict, okay, fine. Nowadays, this is the scenario of our population. The population nowadays, we say that okay, it's growing exponentially. So, can we predict the future with respect to our population growth? Yes, computer did this for us. Computer, there are different sort of computer models that can be used to make prediction about population growth by using assumptions. Of course, assumption. We can only assume by looking at the scenarios, okay, fine, this would be the prediction in our future. Okay, so most analysts are those persons who did analysis. So they assume that the birth rate will fall within the next 50 years. It's the prediction of our analyst. Again, it's the hypothesis. So it may become true or may not become true. We have to see after 50 years that if these analysts were true to their words or not. So if it happens so that birth rate if was within next 50 years, then what would be the reason? Decreased fertility, decreased fertility, lack of resources, diseases, war. Okay, decreased fertility. Decreased fertility means what? That if the reproduction rate becomes decreased, then we will say that we have achieved decreased fertility scenarios. Decrease fertility in simple words, you can say that is a family planning. If we run a proper family planning program, then of course we will decrease our fertility. Okay, lack of resources, we are already is suffering from lack of resources in our country. If we talk about disease, so I know that everybody of you at this moment is thinking about coronavirus. Coronavirus has taken so many lives, and it's in on the way of killing more and more people day by day. So see, this pandemic, the disease, pandemic, coronavirus is is a disease, it's sort of disease, and it becomes pandemic, and it is taking so many lives. So many people will die, so many the birth rate will become fall. Okay, now see, that's why our educational institute is still closed. The reason behind is that this pandemic, if we open our school, our colleges, our universities, or educational institutes, so more people will gather and more pandemic will spread rapidly. And then another situation is war. If God forbid, if we come across with any sort of war, now we are living in the era of technology, modern technology. It's a nuclear era. So nuclear war will take place. If we come across, God forbid, if we come across with war, then what would happen? The nuclear war will take place, and it will destroy each and everything. You might, I think you are recalling your Hiroshima and Nagasaki war. What happened? The war is still the children which are born there. They are they are born with defects with their arms, defects with their legs. Nowadays, still nobody is born there with a normal life. They do not observing normal life still now. So many years have passed. So if God forbid, if nuclear war takes place, so of course we will face this birth rate fall will be experienced. So if there are more people, so what would we face with more people? What is the trouble with more people? So more people means more use of raw materials. More use of raw materials means what? More use of minerals. We will be needing more energy, and more energy will means more fossil fuels. More land will be required for more people. So it means that we have to build more high rise buildings. We have to farm on a larger scale. We will produce more and more wastage, more waste pollution will be increased with more people. So if there is more waste pollution, then of course we will be using pesticides and herbicides to reduce our waste pollution, the harmful impact of waste pollution. So we will be facing sewage, fertilizer, and toxic waste. So fertilizer, if it is synthesized fertilizer, so if of course it will contain more toxic elements, and that will be spread. That from those fertilizers, the farm activity will take place, and the vegetables and the fruits, whatever will grow from those fertilizer, of course, will contain toxic material, heavy metal especially. More waste means more generation of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and carbon monoxide, and different sort of smoke. Carbon dioxide, let me tell you, carbon monoxide is the fatal gas. Fatal gas means the gas which we cannot exhale. If if we exhale even a single molecule of carbon monoxide, we will be dead. Soon we will die. If we inhale even a single atom, a single molecule of carbon monoxide. That's why we say carbon monoxide as a fatal gas. It means that it causes death. Okay. Pollutants. What is pollutants? Let's discover this word today. So one of the biggest problem of rising population is an increase in pollution. So what are pollutants actually? So pollutant is a substance that contaminates air. Contaminate means spoil, damage, reshape. So that contaminates air. What does it mean? If we say contaminates air, so as you know, we have done in everyday science that air has its own composition. In that composition, let me remind you, we have nitrogen, we have oxygen, carbon dioxide, and some other inert gases. And those all gases are in their specific percentage or ratio in the atmosphere. But if we produce excess carbon dioxide from our vehicle, if we produce more carbon dioxide and other toxic gases from our factories, from the chimneys of our factories, the emission takes place. So more carbon dioxide, more toxic gases. So of course, our air would not be called the fresh air, rather we will say contaminated air. Achha, water or land pollution. Water will also be contaminated. Water, in the last session, we learned that water is a renewable resource. Water is a renewable but it doesn't sound good if we hear about the how come a water be a renewable resource? We see the scarcity. The day we become conscious and we are grown, from that age we are hearing that there is a scarcity of water. We are suffering from the shortage of water. So why is it so? The shortage of water is just because whatever the water is present for us, they are contaminated. And of course, contaminated water are not potable water that cannot be drink. Okay, land pollution. What we are doing? We are doing polluted our mother earth. Achha, some pollution is also caused by natural events. That too somehow we can say that it's not in our hand to stop those. Like volcanic eruption, the metabolic conditions, the hydrothermal energy beneath the earth causes volcanic eruption. But to some majority are caused by us. Our activities, our suspicious activities are polluting our land, our water, and our air. So pollutants can be summarized as non-degradable and biodegradable. So we have two types of pollutants. So one type of pollutant we say that it's non-degradable. Non-degradable means that we cannot degrade them, we cannot break them, we cannot finish them, we cannot spoil their toxicity. As for example, the DDT, it's a pesticide which was used in early days in early 70s in Europe. No, but we are still using. You know that whatever is the world has banned is DDT because it has toxic effect. But we are still in Pakistan. It is still in use. DDT. So DDT is non-biodegradable. If we use DDT spray for our farming activities, so of course the whatever the activity will be carried on there, that material will obviously contain the toxic substances. Okay. Then we have biodegradable. Biodegradable are sewage, Our sewage system, if we, you might have seen when we do the cleaning of our canals, sewage canals, so we see that we can filter water of sewage and can get the fertilizer and that sewage water, and that sewage water are, you might have seen water, those sewage water is used to watering our green belt. You might have seen around, if you ever been there at Sharai Faisal, you might have seen that sewage water is being used to water the green belt. अच्छा, indicator species. Some indicator we know that indicator means, of course, something which indicates something. So in species means kind. Different kind of animals and plants are called species. So we have different indicator species that the presence of them identifies the presence or absence of few information on the environment. So we call them indicator species. So we can say that indicator species are organisms whose presence or absence provides information on the environmental condition in a specific area. Like lichen. It is thought that wherever we see lichen, it will indicate the presence of sulfur dioxide on that land. So this, if lichen is somewhere, so there is no need of soil analysis for sulfur dioxide. Lichen presence is indicating that sulfur dioxide is present in abundance on that land. So next we will move to our air pollution. In the class also, I remember we talk a lot about air pollution. So air pollution, there are different pollutants in our air. What are they? We categorize them. We could categorize them air pollutant as well as noxious gases and particulates. Noxious gases and particulates. Noxious gases include carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides. So as you can see, X is written here. So nitrogen oxide, maybe nitrogen monoxide or maybe nitrogen dioxide. So we collectively call them NOx. Rather NO2 or NO, we name it X. So you have to write this X on the foot with NO. It means NOx. NOx. Particulate matter means that those particles whose particle size is very very small, almost 0.25 pm. Micron size particles that are present in the air are called particulates. They are in micron size, and micron size means, of course, it's not visible to our naked eyes. We cannot see them with our naked eyes, but these particles are really present in our environment, in our air, but their particle size is estimated to be 0.25 micrometer. So they are actually produced by the combustion of fossil fuel. When we burn fuel, these particulate matters are born in the air. And these particulate matters, as I told you, their particle size are in micron. We cannot see them, so we easily inhale them. If we inhale them, it will go directly to our lungs. Once these particulate matters gets its way to our lungs, so you can understand our lungs will be damaged with these particulate matters. And of course, if our lungs are damaged, it means that we will be dead. Air pollution has been a major problem since the Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution actually is the main cause of Industrial Revolution. As you might have heard nowadays that We reduced our ozone layer, and our air is also fresh. The composition of the air is coming back to its natural composition. There's no pollution in the air. There's no more carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide level is in limit as nowadays. So why is it so? Because we have closed our industries. The industries are closed. So the closing of industries has reduced the emission of carbon dioxide and other different particulate matters. So in 18th century, when the industrial revolution takes place, the industrial revolution means the revolution came in 18th century, where more and more industries were set up. So we call that era as industrial revolution. So these industrial revolution has actually brought about the air pollution. And our Karachi, our Karachi is basically an industrial city. So we are also suffering from industrial revolution. And that's why we are facing air pollution. We are ranked almost second in our Pakistan in rise of air pollution. Acha, air pollution will cause global warming. We know that. Why is it so? Because in air pollution, more carbon dioxide, if there is more percentage of carbon dioxide, let me remind you, the normal percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere should be 0.03 mm. If it rises from 0.03 percentage, then more carbon dioxide will be present in the atmosphere. And carbon dioxide has the capacity of absorbing hotness. So more hotness will be absorbed by the carbon dioxide, and that it will ultimately cause warming in our globe. Acid rain. Acid rain is actually the rain which actually carries sulfuric acid basically with it, and the sulfuric acid damage our trees, our forest life, our wildlife, our land. Everything can be caused through acid rain. And of course, then ozone layer and smog will be rise. Each of these has serious implication for the environment and our health issues. Acha. Global warming and greenhouse gases. One of the greatest threats caused by our air pollution is global warming. So global warming is caused by a buildup of greenhouse gases, which leads to an increase in the Earth's temperature. So a greenhouse gas is an atmospheric gas that absorbs infrared light. Acha. Key greenhouse gases, there are different gases which we call collectively as greenhouse gases, but among them are carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. And lastly, the nitrous oxide. So as you can see, it's a pictorial illustration of greenhouse effect. Then carbon dioxide level. Carbon dioxide level will be rise if we face deforestation. If we cut more trees than planting it, then of course level of carbon dioxide will increase, and it will cause global warming and breathing problem as well. It will cause our sinuses problem. It will cause our respiratory process problem. Carbon dioxide is absorbed by green plants. So if we will cut down trees rapidly and we don't plant any tree, of course we will face the scenario that the carbon dioxide will be rise in our atmosphere. So before the industrial revolution, carbon dioxide levels were usually kept in a check by the carbon sink. We termed it as carbon sink. Carbon sink means forest and ocean that capture and store carbon. The forest is a blessing for human being, not only for human being but other organisms, birds, insects. wild animal, for everyone. In carbon dioxide dissolved in seawater, so it will what they do, they actually they produce tiny marine animals called phytoplankton. They extract carbon from the carbon dioxide to make their skeleton and shells. The phytoplanktons are also smallest organisms that we can see in ocean only. So they, if the carbon dioxide is present in the ocean, so phytoplanktons will use the carbon from ocean, from carbon dioxide, and use them to make their shell. So I think you can feel this very well. You understand that if do these processes increase or decrease at the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. If we cut down trees, if we do burning, if we do burning of fossil fuels, so if the pollution will increase or decrease, of course, pollution will increase. If we do deforestation, of course, it will also the cause of increase in pollution, like respiration and photosynthesis, they will actually decrease the pollution level. Acid rain, you know, the rain which causes the sulfuric acid and some other carbonic acid with the rain. Rain contains acid, likely sulfuric acid, carbonic acid. Acha, ozone layer is damaging. We are facing depletion. But nowadays the scenario is changed. Nowadays the depletion of ozone layer is no more taking place because we have nowadays a positive impact of towards our environment due owing to this coronavirus. So where or coronavirus, in other words, we can say they have done something good for the environment, not for the human being, but for the environment. Okay, the ozone layer is a protective layer. It's just like an umbrella that protects us from scorching beam of ultraviolet rays that comes from the ozone layer. So ozone layer can cause skin cancers and different other diseases of skin. The ozone layer is damaged due to a chemical actually, and that chemical is called CFCs in short. The symbol is CFCs. It means chlorofluorocarbons. In the past, these fluorocarbons were used in refrigerator. In the past, it means that during the days of your grandparents, the chlorofluorocarbons were used in refrigerator. But nowadays, we do not use chlorofluorocarbons in our refrigerator. And it was also used in packaging material, different packaging materials. So this actually caused depletion of ozone layer. Smog, you know that Lahoris actually observe these smog scenarios because smog is actually air pollution and then particulates that is sometimes found in the lower level of the atmosphere. And of course, it is just because the presence of particulate matter. And how can we see? I told you earlier that particulate matter cannot be seen through our naked eyes. But if we see a brownish haze, it means the particulate matter are present. And of course, particulate matters are deadly gases, and that can cause death because it will directly attack on our lungs. Then we will see the water pollution, sewage, the overflowing sewage everywhere in our Karachi city. Sewage, industrial waste, oil, pesticide, and fertilizers all are polluted water. Fertilizer and sewage can easily be washed into rivers, streams, and lakes without treatment. We are in a habit of draining them in the lakes and streams without treatment. Acha, so these nutrients and phosphate and nitrates, these substances called eutrophication. And eutrophication again damages our lake, our ponds, and these damages cause actually the life that is present in the pond and lake. Then land pollution. I think this we are very much familiar of this type of picture because you see these around you. You know, when we move around in our city, we can see this type of land everywhere. Solid waste, chemicals are here and there. There is no precautionary measure to dump hazardous waste or chemical waste. Even the hospital waste, we are dumping it here and there. We are not taking care of these things. So we are in solid waste. Mostly we use plastic, metals, and everything we are dumping it without taking care of any precaution. So it causes, of course, land pollution. It polluted our land. So if we estimate about the waste that is generated by the human being, so it is estimated that each year billions of tons of paper, plastic, synthetic materials, metal, and goods are thrown away. So UK household produces, of course, 1 ton of rubbish each year. It is a research news that in UK, almost 1 ton of rubbish is dumped each year, and it means that we can calculate in this way our landfill or china cutting. In other words, you are familiar with china cutting. It's actually the landfill. The landfill is the cheapest solution, but sites quickly become full and the waste contaminates the surrounding air, soil, and water. So incinerating means, yeah, waste reduces volume but often produces toxic chemicals. Recycling. We in previous session we did about 3 hours. So in 3 hours there's 1 hour recycling. So recycling, we should use more and more material reuse. If we reuse our things, we recycle our things. So of course we won't be short of resources. Composting. It's a natural biological processes to compose or decompose our organic material, but it cannot be used to dispose of non-biodegradable waste. In non-biodegradable waste, what comes in mind? If I say non-biodegradable waste, of course, plastic. Plastic is non-biodegradable waste. We cannot compost it. So, what is the solution then? Do we have any solution? What should we do then? How can we get rid of our pollution? We can get rid of these pollution, or not rid of course we can reduce it to somehow by our positive attitude towards our environment. In the last, as you can see, it's a glossary. I have placed this slide for you. If you ever come across with these words and the meaning is not clear to you, you may see these, the meanings are written. See, biodiversity, chlorofluorocarbons, eutrophication, global warming, and greenhouse gases. So this all for today. I hope the lecture is would be clear to you. If you face any sort of problem in making the things clear, especially today's lecture, so you people are welcome to contact me on my WhatsApp number. You all have my number, so you may contact me on my WhatsApp number. You may WhatsApp me your queries, whatever you want to ask about this lecture or every lecture of mine. You are welcome to ask every time. So thank you very much.